Before we begin today's episode of the Black Curtain Club podcast, we would like to share a quick disclaimer. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by the hosts and guests on this podcast are their own personal views and are provided in their own personal capacity. All content is editorial, opinion-based, and intended for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Black Curtain Club podcast. Before you do fucking Angie.
Do anything.
Some noise it threw her off.
Mouth noise. Hi, welcome to the Black Curtain Club podcast. Before you get too comfortable, I'm going to need you to go into the kitchen, open up the drawer, and get your tinfoil. Go ahead, start making your little hat. I'm going to tell the crew what I'm going to put them through today. First of all, I'm your host, Becca, and joining me are my buddies, Angie and Kyle. How are you guys doing today? Fuck yeah.
I'm doing fine.
Ooh, somebody's making their tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
He's making it real. Look him up, Kyle.
Okay, I'm good. Let's do this.
Perfect.
Oh,
You know what? I bet you anything he is sitting there with a fucking piece of tin foil on his hat.
He's dedicated, that's why. So, today's episode, now that Kyle is prepared, he's smart, his brain's going to be protected. Angie, you are fucked. Today's episode is an exercise in eccentricity and a deep dive into my personal favorite conspiracy theories. By the end, I'm hoping one of these brainy buttheads can guess which one of these theories keeps me up at night. So today, we have a few pretty wild conspiracy theories. The first one, why do only 50% of the Black Curtain Club podcast members actually listen to the Black Curtain Club podcast? The second one, two theories about our planet's moon that people want to know. Is the moon hollow? And is there a possibility that the Apollo moon landing was faked? Another one is hollow Earth. Yes.
Wait a minute. We need to go back to that first one.
Okay, yeah.
I know where I sit in that 50%. Kyle, where do you sit in that 50%?
No, I realized that I was on mute because constructing just check your Instagram. Does it only count? Do I have to listen to all of the episodes? Because I know I haven't listened to all of them.
You know, at least you've listened to some.
Yeah. All the ones that I'm in.
One.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. So we're talking about conspiracy theories. We're talking about moon madness. We're talking about, is the Apollo mission fake? Is the moon hollow? Is
fucking idiot.
Okay, you know what? Let me go look at this picture. Why not?
That better be the one we use.
A little kiss at the top is so perfect.
Oh, that's going on the episode cover. I swear to God.
It has to. That's the thumbnail.
It's fucking better.
All right.
That is the thumbnail. There's enough room. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay. I'm muting.
Two moon ones.
Go ahead.
Is the Earth hollow? Dirty DIA, and simulated sims, wrapping up the wildly popular theory that life itself is a simulated reality that we are all trapped in. What do you think, guys? Are we ready to dive in?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
So, we're going to start with fake moon landing. This is just going to start off with the theory that the Apollo 11 moon landing mission in the 60s was simply a hoax. The experts on this... Guys, okay. The experts on this supposed bluff has cited several sources of compelling evidence to back this claim up. If you think about the timing, Russia being hot on the heels in the space race, it makes sense to me that we would fudge the numbers a little bit. That being said, if it is true, it's kind of messed up that the entire crew and launch team dedicated so much of themselves to this giant leap for mankind, just to be told by some armchair detectives that they're lying. The thing that makes me stop in my tracks and take off my tinfoil hat is the undeniable fact that if the moon landing were faked by NASA, then 400,000 people would have had to work together to cover it up. And if you know people like I do, this is harder to swallow than a weather balloon. So Why do they think it's fake? It's mostly the pictures. And that's what most of the theories boil down to. One of the things we're going to touch on are the shadows in the images that the NASA published of the landing itself. In these photographs, it's evident that the shadows of the astronaut, the flags, and the scenery are not parallel, suggesting there might be more than one light source. This is problematic because the sun should be the only light source. If I'm looking, I can see what they're talking about, and it makes me wonder, but I'm honestly not a fucking scientist. I don't know how light works on Earth, right? I'm not going to pretend this proves anything about the moon. What the experts say is that because of perspective, parallel lines appear to be non-parallel. If you're trying to reduce on a two-dimensional plane a three-dimensional situation, you can make lines do all sorts of weird things. Basically, in terms I can understand, this is just a trick of perspective. The angle of the video and the photographs and the shadows are just a naturally occurring effect on the way light wraps around the object throwing the shadow. So you guys have seen, like, the pictures of the moon landing, right? I guess I should ask that. Like, you've just seen, like, the guy, the flag, you know, the rocks. Like, oh, this is what it looks like. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Another thing that people like to point out is that there aren't any stars in the pictures. Mm-hmm. And people think, like, if this is really space, why are there no stars in the background? Again, they are right. There aren't any stars. But if I try to take a picture with my iPhone in 2025, even I have trouble capturing the stars and the moon and what they actually look like. And this was the dawn of time, okay? We're talking like I Love Lucy, Andy Griffith Show era. The video quality alone, I think, can excuse this. Mm-hmm. 1 second. Can you stop? Sorry, HP decided to take over my shit. They're trying to silence me.
Already. Like, listen, bitch.
The next two are visual. Just bear with me. This one is about the background of the photos. It claims that there are identical backgrounds in some of the pictures that were allegedly taken miles apart. This suggested that either like a painted background was used or like a family picture at JCPenney, only it's Neil Armstrong and his buddies having a laugh. They've got like a backdrop down. So the experts say they look similar, but they're not identical. What appears as hills in some photos are actually mountains many miles away. On Earth, objects that are farther away will appear fainter and less detailed. On the moon, there's no atmosphere or haze to obscure faraway objects. And the next one is the one that always gets me. It's the flag. It's how
the fucking flag
looks.
The flag.
I find myself leaning towards the dark side with this one when I see the videos and the pictures of the flag. The theorists think that it was waving as if there was a breeze, and the awkwardness of the way that it just stiffly flops there is what makes weirdos like me so feral. Like, look me in the eye and tell me that was the way to go about planting a flag. They just made it needlessly performative and give us room to scoff. So they say we put this flag on an L-shaped rod, okay? They thought it would look unimpressive if it just kind of hung limply, flaccid. It wouldn't look very America. So they're like, yeah, we used an L-shaped rod to make it look better. Sue us. So it did seem to flutter, but they're saying that it was the astronauts moving it into position and there was no air drag. So these movements caused the free corner of the flag to swing like a pendulum. There were some creases in it from where it was like stored between Earth and actually getting on the moon to be planted. The videos show that when they let go of the flagpole, it vibrates, but then it stills again. So they're saying like, yeah, it looks like it's waving in the breeze. It looks stupid, yeah, but it's just an L-shaped rod and then putting it down. I don't know. What do you guys think about the moon landing? Do you believe?
Christ. How much time do we have on this episode?
I'm really excited to talk about this because there's the whole theory about how it was filmed by none other than Stanley Kubrick, which we touched on this in another episode. So I actually did a deep dive on the theory that there are very specific things in The Shining that was like Kubrick's little Easter egg trail, that he actually was the orchestrator of the whole moon landing video. So you guys ready to hear some of this?
Yes. I don't have my tinfoil hat on, but I do have my vape, and I feel very secure.
I'll probably have questions after, yes.
Okay. So one of the first things is Danny's Apollo 11 sweater. So Danny, the child in the Shining, was wearing a handmade knit sweater that featured the Apollo 11 rocket, and it is absolutely like, this isn't random. It's front and center, like multiple shots, and here's the thing, like, Stanley Kubrick in that whole film paid attention so much to detail. This wasn't just like a flash in the pan or just some kind of wardrobe decision. Like, there was even not really related to this, but I saw recently, like, even the tie that Jack wore was a mirror image of the maze. Like everything in this film was specifically placed there by Kubrick. So the fact that this Apollo 11 rocket on this sweater that was so prominent, a lot of people say that Danny kind of represented Kubrick, that he was basically being manipulated into launching Apollo 11 into the public consciousness. The other thing was that with the room 237. So in Stephen King's book, the haunted room was actually room 217, but Kubrick changed it to 237 for the film. Why did he do that? So the average distance from the Earth to the moon is approximately 237 miles. Well, that's what was known in the 1970s. We now know that modern science, it's like 238,855 miles. But back then, it was kind of known 237,000 miles. There was the carpet pattern. There was a hexagonal carpet shape in the Overlook Hotel, where Danny is, playing in the hallway. People say that that is the exact layout of the Apollo 11 launch pads at Kennedy Space Center.
Oh.
So this was the scene where Danny's playing with the toy cars on the carpet, and the way that he's playing with the cars, it looks exactly like a rocket launching. So Jack has writer's block. So Jack Torrance, he's the dad. Jack Nicholson is said to represent Kubrick himself in this theory, that he's a man that's trapped in a project that he hates. He's being manipulated, driven insane by the Overlook Hotel, which is kind of a metaphor for the U.S. government or shadow institutions. And then Jack has this breakdown, which is Kubrick's internal torment after completing the moon footage and being forced into silence. The phrase "all work and no play" makes Jack a dull boy. So there was like thousands of pages being typed robotically, and people say that this is Kubrick, who was like working endlessly, tirelessly on faking the moon landing. And this was just kind of like an expression of himself, kind of undertaking this robotic, soul-dreaded, trapped thing that he found himself into. There was the ghost party, the 1920s ballroom party. Jack sees a mirror, and it says "out of time," which is kind of a fake memory implanted into reality. And some say this is Kubrick's commentary on how fabricated memories, aka the moon landing, are accepted into public consciousness without question. There's Ullman in the briefcase. So there's the manager of the Overlook, Stuart Ullman, who is the person who hires Jack, was kind of the metaphor for a government handler. So Stuart Ullman was slick, smiling, harmless, and yet clearly holding back secrets. In one scene, he carries a bright red, perfectly square briefcase. So this kind of symbolizes the contract or the binding agreement that Kubrick had with the government. The Overlook Hotel was built on Native American burial ground, and some see this as a symbol for how the U.S. government built its modern myths, including Apollo 11, atop like old blood and old lies.
Oh, so this goes deep.
Yeah, so it really does, yeah. But, like I said, Kubrick was obsessed with this layered symbolism. He painstakingly composed every single frame. He was one of the few directors that was technically capable of creating hyper realistic effects needed for this moon broadcast. This was coming off of his 2001 A Space Odyssey film, where he
forgot about
actually
that.
demonstrated the photorealistic outer space imagery, and this was way before Apollo 11 even happened. So, is this just a coded confession from Kubrick that he faked the moon landing? Was he trying to confess in this film? And this was the only way that he could kind of tell people without telling people, like, hey, I did this. So I'll shut up about that.
I love that movie.
If I were to say one thing, it's that I could absolutely... Okay, first of all, yeah, he did Space Odyssey. We know he's capable. We also know that he's very inclined to sell out. And I could also see him being kind of frustrated that he didn't get any credit for it because he might have thought I did such a good fucking job. Mm-hmm. So I could totally see him being petty and being like, I'm just going to layer these little Easter eggs in here. The government could sweat it out. But technically, I didn't say anything. I just made a ghost movie, right?
Spooky.
Yeah. I mean, was one of our greatest achievements actually built on one of our greatest lies?
That's definitely the question, right?
Oh, that's a question for sure. It's formatted. It would be accepted on Jeopardy.
They,
I like that. It's a question.
My thing with this one is, when were accusations against Kubrick first made? Like, when were the first people to say Stanley Kubrick did it?
So you're asking if people believe it because of The Shining, or if they believed it before and
if they believed it before, if people believed it before and Kubrick put all that Apollo stuff in there just to be a cheeky bastard, like, this is going to drive these people nuts because they think I did this when I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a firm believer in, if you're hellbent on something and you're looking for patterns, you're gonna fucking find them. Simple as that. I'm neither here nor there on the whole Kubrick thing. I kind of like what you said. I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't know how light works on Earth and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there. I don't know also that kind of fun stuff. But I'm completely in the middle. I need facts supporting both sides. So if it was is it just people looking for patterns and they just happen to find some years and years later because they were fucking looking for them? Or you know what I mean?
I will say, Buzz Aldrin did punch a moon landing denier in the face.
That is my favorite clip I've ever seen while watching an episode about conspiracy theories. But I'm going to be completely honest. I'm assuming you've seen it. I would have punched the man in the fucking face. If I was the guy next to Buzz Aldrin, I'd have punched the guy in the fucking face.
And honestly, I've seen interviews with Buzz Aldrin, things like that. Such a sweet fucking man. If I wanted to believe anybody in the world, I want to believe in Buzz Aldrin. So that's the moon landing. Hard for me to say one way or the other. I do believe the government would lie to us. I think that NASA would lie to us. I think that we have been to the moon. Did we go then? I can't say. I'm not a fucking scientist. I wasn't alive then. I didn't see it on TV. Mm-hmm. It's not part of my culture. It's part of my history.
Ooh, that's a good... Ooh. Can I get that on a t-shirt, please?
Did it give you chills, Kyle?
That was pretty... I don't know about chills, but...
That was good.
Did it move?
That was solid. That was a good one. It's just
That was a good turn of the phrase.
But that's just... I guess that's my question. And he goes did it come out... were his accusations before or after the movie? Because if they were before the movie, I think he definitely did them to be cheeky. They think I did this. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna fuck with you guys. I'm gonna put the sweater in here. Guess what? I'm gonna put the motherboard in the carpet, because Angie's right. He's a goddamn artist. His attention to detail, the tie, the maze, just all of it. It nothing got past him. Anything that was put in the movie was done deliberately. There were no coincidences. Coincidenci? Whatever. When it came to what he did. Coincidi. When it came to what he was doing. I If he changed it, there's a goddamn reason. Was it because he felt guilt? Was it because he's a cheeky bastard? We don't know.
Now, you mean accusations about the moon landing, because he had a lot of accusations leveled at him about a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
About the moon landing specifically. What were his accusations about the moon landing? Not that thing he did with that donkey back in Budapest and all that other shit. None of that stuff. No. Nothing about him being the reincarnation of Rasputin. None of that. No. That's a fun one. Read that one.
All right, so to stay kind of in the same vein here, we're just going to go a little deeper than surface level with the moon. This is the hollow moon theory. This one gets my little animal brain all excited. First of all, let me give you a summary to hold on to before we dive all the way into the deep end. Essentially, there's a theory out there that the moon is not a naturally occurring celestial body, that it could be hollow, an artificial construct, or even a giant spaceship. Full-on Death Star, that's no fucking moon. Where did this fucking idea come from?
Nazi Germany.
This idea gained traction in the 1970s with a book called Who Built the Moon? Not the Nazis, Kyle. Although, I mean...
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So the authors were Christopher Knight, Alan Butler. It just so happens around this time there were also Soviet scientists like Michael Vossen and Alexander Sherbakov, who were proposing the spaceship moon theory. They theorized that aliens created the moon and placed it in Earth's orbit intentionally. You're bursting at the seams, Kyle. Tell me, what are you dying to say right now?
No, you're just like, it just so happened. Of course it just so happened that there's fucking Russians doing something against it.
Yeah.
It's just the way you said it.
Yeah.
It just so happens at this time. Of course. Who'd have thought?
So listen,
because the Russians never did anything ever in history to try to rain on our fucking parade. Ever.
Right. Like, you didn't go to the fucking moon, it's hollow. Anyway.
It's a balloon.
The 70s were a wild decade, and everyone was all about the fucking moon. Let me tell you. Between the Apollo mission and everything else, it's like the whole world just decided to look up one day and start asking questions like, what the fuck is this thing that seems to have always been there and literally makes our whole planet livable? So, how hollow are we talking? Hold on, my computer's trying to lock on me. Let me just, can you quit? Thank you.
I told you, man.
How hollow are we talking?
Just listen. It's weird. We're having technical difficulties. We're talking about this episode. Kind of freaky.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. My internet's all fucky right now.
Well, you sound amazing, so don't worry. So when it comes to the hollow moon, you really have to separate the facts from the outlandish claims made by those who believe in this theory. They're building an interesting case, I'll give them that. Like, it goes all the way to NASA. Like, it's a big theory, and there's a lot of moving parts. So, during the Apollo mission, when they dropped off part of the lunar module, they said that when it fell to the moon's surface, it rang like a bell. Which, honestly, it felt like it gonged through me the first time I read that. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? So... I know that's a good indication of something being empty, but I'll tell you what the smart people have to say about this after. Also, the moon's density is lower than the Earth's, and this leads some to believe that it's hollow or at least filled with some massive underground caverns. Also, the fact that the moon perfectly covers the sun during total eclipses, some claim this is just too perfect to be natural. The thing that always gets me with this theory is that the moon controls the tide, the magnetic field, even our periods. Like, sorry, it's true. The fact that it's like the perfect plot device and it showed up out of nowhere, it did us a huge favor, but it seems like it didn't ask for anything in return, and that makes my trust issues flare up. Like, what does the moon want? Why is it here to help us? We didn't give anything to the moon. So, I mean, that alone. So, a lot of the craters are shallow, even the largest ones, and this is leading to speculation that there's a hard inner shell limiting the depth of the craters. There's also myths from different cultures and tribes claiming that there was a time before the moon, suggesting that it may have arrived in Earth's orbit after human memory began. Basically, this is the meat and potatoes of the theory. Scientists have done their research, and to explain all of this, they've offered us some key points to remember. Essentially, the bell sound was more of a moonquake or seismic shock from the impact. Things like seismic data, gravity mapping, and core samples taken from the big, beautiful ball herself have told us that she is very much a layered floating rock with a core just as real as the Earth's. But you have to admit, there's just enough here to make you wonder. Between the three of us, I'm looking at myths and legends, I'm looking at science, I'm looking at all the things that can't be explained about the universe. What if the moon was some kind of observation station for some alien race that has been waiting for the perfect segue to make themselves known?
In your research, did you come across the Mars theory?
Oh, I need a tinfoil.
Another layer.
Another layer. You gotta double wrap it before you tap it with these.
Right.
I'm like a fucking hobo burger meal right now.
Sorry, we can't stop.
It's like Pete and repeat here. The Mars theory, the civilization that was on Mars millions and millions and millions of years ago, they very advanced civilization. They knew that their planet was dying, and they constructed the moon to basically terraform the Earth. Has no one else? Am I the only one that's heard of this?
No, I know what you're talking about because it leans into the alien space station theory that was part of it.
Yeah. So, like, the moon is perfectly positioned to cause, solar eclipses. It absolutely is tied to our seasons, our climate, the tides. Everything is tied to the moon. Also, the moon rocks are older than Earth itself. So some are over 5.3 billion years old. And the moon dust is also very chemically different than some of the things that should be found on the moon. If it was, had been in orbit with Earth all this time, they should have some chemical properties that share one another.
We're talking forensic files stuff. Like they're analyzing it under the microscope, finding some oddities. Okay.
Yeah, it has very high levels of titanium and other rare metals. So the type of metals that are found on it are kind of essential to aerospace technology. Let's see, you covered the craters, how the craters
touched on them.
Should be. Yeah, so they're very wide, but they're not deep. And typical impact craters have a very specific type of depth as opposed to width. And this is kind of the exact opposite. It doesn't follow kind of the natural order of what we see on other planets and other moons. This moon does not behave like any other structure that we know about.
It also seems like impact craters would be at more of an angle, but a lot of the craters on the moon are like straight up like somebody just poked their finger in. Like something just fell directly from the sky affected by gravity. Like there is no gravity on the moon. If something is going to like hit, it's going to hit and it's going to kind of, bounce
There's an incredibly low amount of gravity.
Yeah.
Incredibly low. There is still gravity.
Gravity's just a theory, baby.
Okay. Okay.
So if we go back to ancient Sumerians, so they have a lot of myths that describe how the gods or celestial bodies moved the moon into place. That it was specifically placed to again help bring about life and stabilize the planet. Also, the ancient Greeks recorded that there were people who predated the moon's presence.
That's the kind of thing that makes me believe more than the armchair detective stuff. The fact that ancient civilizations were like doing their best to keep records with what language and art they had. And they would say that, one day the moon came and suddenly the tide was pretty lit and now everything's okay. Like life was shitty before the moon, but now we love it here.
All the evidence that we have of Mars, it kind of points to there probably was like an ancient civilization. There's structures on Mars that we can't really explain. They don't seem to be natural.
There's sphinxes and pyramids. So like we talk about Mars, we talk about the moon.
Also, we're like so weirdly obsessed with Mars. Like it's weird that it's one of the planets we've had a fixation with out of all of the planets out there. I know it's like one of the nearest that could possibly be explored, but I think it's fascinating that we are tying the moon to the Mars. And it begs to question, maybe humans started on Mars and then had to come to Earth because we fucked up Mars.
That's the fun one. That's the one I really like. That technically life started on Mars. And there's this one that's really fun because it's one of the very few theory hermaphrodites that exists in humanity, where you have religion and science kind of coexisting in one thought, which I think is really fun.
We love when that happens.
There's one theory out there where people think that like the exploration ship or whatever, Adam and Eve, their ship was the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, essentially. The Ice Age is just some type of a bullshit recollection of their cryosleep of their journey over, because then when the Ice Age is over was when life happened, was when they woke up from their cryosleep on their ship that crushed into the dinosaurs. I love that one so much because it's like the person who came up with that theory is the absolute embodiment of the phrase shit or get off the pot, like fucking pick a side. Like they want you to believe in science and religion at the same time, and I'm sorry, you have two massively conflicting ideals happening there.
The idea of the baguettes at the beginning of the Bible just being the list so they can keep straight who Eve has fucked, so that they don't like accidentally inbreed with the humans that are already here. They're like, okay, you got this guy, you got this guy, you got this guy, you got this guy, and these guys all had these babies. We need to make sure we don't muddy the waters here.
Either way.
Well, now that you've already brought it back to Earth, I want to go into the hollow Earth theory with you guys so fucking bad.
Listen, I just went through for like the 11th time this month the Kong and Godzilla movies.
Yes!
I fucking love them.
Yes.
So you are ready.
I fucking love them so goddamn much.
So, if you ask me, we haven't gotten weird enough yet. Space is too big. We could get lost out there. So, instead of asking why the magic rocks out there behave the way they do, for this next section, we're going to bring it back to Earth. No, we're going to go deeper than that. We're staying underground for this next one, literally. Do you ever look at a mountain range or a volcano or a sinkhole and think, hey, what if this whole place was just a shell and there's a secret world inside of it? Well, some people don't just think it, they know it. And today, we're digging into the hollow Earth theory.
Unfortunately, yes, I do know this. This is one I do not buy into.
So
Hollow Earth? You buy into buy into Hollow Moon and Stanley Kubrick making the fucking Shining about like red rum. I fake the fucking moon landing, but you don't believe in Hollow Earth. No, I'm sorry. If you believe in one, you gotta believe in the rest. You can't pick and choose which lunacy you decide to wear for the day.
She wants her lunacy spoon-fed to her in the correct shape and colors that she likes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes. Sadism.
Smidgen of the system.
To sum up this theory, everything we know is a lie, and the people in charge are hiding things from us.
No!
The planet itself is hiding things from us. Let me explain. The theory is that the Earth isn't solid at all. Instead, there's either a central sun surrounded by an internal world, or a massive network of caves and tunnels stretching across continents through specific entry points. And I want to know, which of these sounds cooler to you guys right off the bat? Do you like inner utopia or do you like giant mole tunnels?
Both.
The mole tunnels.
Like giant mole utopias.
I could buy into the tunnel theory. I could probably see that. An internal sun, nah.
Yeah. Like, that's just a core. You're like, the Earth doesn't have a core. Instead, it has a core that is a sun. Like, shut the fuck up. Anyway. Personally, I like the idea of the caves, only because it seems like the inside of the planet is a lot of wasted space, and I don't like the idea of flying. If I could pop into a cavern and go to Italy over the weekend, that would be sick as fuck.
I mean, with the right amount of drugs, you can.
Yeah. So I bet you guys are wondering, How do we get to the real Middle Earth? Any cool mystery door needs a touch of razzle dazzle. Instead of moving a bookcase or a trapdoor, the entrances to the insides are said to be naturally occurring, easily monitored locations. The North and South Pole, the Amazon rainforest, the Himalayas, Mount Shasta in California, and I personally think that Appalachia and the Ozark Mountains should be added to this list as well if we're going off of vibes alone. And the theory is that these openings are either naturally hidden or deliberately guarded, or disguised by governments to keep the people out. One of the big favorites is Antarctica. It's a frozen wasteland with a no-fly zone, restricted access, and conspiracy theorists point to the satellite images that have been blurred or blacked out, strange heat signatures under the ice, and international military treaties keeping it locked down as evidence that something is being protected. What do we think so far?
I have to know what Kyle's little giggle. He had a knowing giggle.
He's brewing something here. It's bubbling out.
My giggle. Anything that involves Antarctica, I absolutely love, because you ever see the meme where it's like the boy who's standing there and he looks one direction, the other direction, and there's the one that's supposed to be like the pretty castle and the evil castle, but every now and then it's the two evil castles. You come to any conspiracy, any mainstream conspiracy theory, it goes one of two ways: Nazis or Antarctica. Sometimes it's both. Every fucking time. It's just like
Antarctica, the aliens. What are you doing here?
The aliens are in Antarctica. The fucking hollow earth entrance is in Antarctica. The Nazis went to Antarctica. Like, the only thing not in Antarctica is fucking penguins, apparently. Like,
yeah. That's
it. Now, do not get me wrong. It is incredibly sketchy that, like, how have random nations just kind of agreed that, okay, Antarctica is like a no-go, like it's super duper top secret and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. That's super sus, but it's like every fucking conspiracy is like, Antarctica, that's what's in Antarctica, man. And I'm like, bruh, I saw Happy Feet. No, there's penguins there.
Yeah. Angie, what do you think?
Well, don't they also say that Antarctica is also the gateway to, like, forget what they call it, but there's like another land, like the Earth is actually larger than what we know it, and that there's like another total different world outside of that?
I have some evidence that points to what you're suggesting, and I think in order for us to crack this case, we're going to need to go a little deeper. Admiral Byrd. So this is the moment every
I saw that
Hollow
episode
Earth,
of Sesame Street.
Every Hollow Earth theorist pulls Admiral Byrd out like an ace. They're like, this guy knows. This is our messiah. Admiral Byrd, he's been there. He asked the questions. He knows. So in 1947, a U.S. Navy officer named Admiral Richard Byrd led Operation High Jump to Antarctica. Now, officially, it was about research and testing military equipment in cold conditions. But according to the Fringe, Admiral Byrd claimed in a suppressed diary, mind you, that he flew into a massive hole at the pole and entered a hidden world. He met advanced beings who warned him about humanity's obsession with war, and then he returned only for everyone to tell him that he was fucking crazy for saying this. Just gonna go to Antarctica real quick. Don't mind me, guys. Whoa, hold on. I came back. Guys, there's a hole up there. I can't show you where it is, but I'm gonna write a secret diary about it. And fuck you for making fun of me, I guess. So the next thing I want to talk about is Agartha and inner civilizations. So these are the cities supposedly inside of Earth. One name you're going to hear if you go down this rabbit hole is Agartha. Supposedly, it's a sprawling, advanced underground civilization, sometimes linked to the lost city of Atlantis. It's also linked to other ascended beings, said to be living peacefully under there, unaffected by the chaos on the surface of the Earth. And get this, according to some accounts, the beings in Hollow Earth are either ancient humans who went underground long ago, aliens, spiritual masters, lizards, or like these tall, glowing, wise, and hot, like ascended people. They're like, oh, we are like the perfect beings. Like, we've mastered it.
The Asgardians.
The Asgardians. What did the Smarties say? Obviously, geologically, Earth is made of layers: crust, mantle, outer core, solid inner core. Seismic waves from earthquakes are how scientists know this. They behave differently when moving through different materials, and we have tons of data supporting that. But hey, if I've learned anything doing this show, it's that science doesn't stop people from believing. Maybe science just hasn't dug deep enough. Some say Nazis escaped into the hollow earth through Antarctica.
Like I said, you pull on the thread of any conspiracy, you get one or both. This one we got both.
One of these hollow earth people have this famous quote that I love, is that the core is just lava propaganda.
Typical big lava burning us all up from the insides.
Lava propaganda.
They also love to talk about this book from 1908 called The Smoky God, where a sailor claims he sailed into the earth through the North Pole and found a land of giants and endless daylight. So this is their like facts and evidence, right? So either Earth is a solid rock, or it's the most exclusive speakeasy in the galaxy, and we're all just pounding on the surface hoping they let us in. I personally like the idea of caves. I can buy caves. I can swallow caves. That is easy to go down. I do fucking miss me with the inner utopia. I don't believe that shit.
Yeah, the cave system, I mean, it's allegedly crawling with aliens. And that goes with the, the missing 411 and the cave system and people going missing. And so, yeah, I can swallow this.
And I mean, archaeologists dig up cities all the time that they didn't realize existed. It wouldn't surprise me so much that there's more going on underground in the past than there is now. So I mean, I could believe it.
Insane amounts. My question is what makes Kubrick's pretty much a documentary and not Adam Wingard, the director of Kong Godzilla? What makes him a liar? And I literally just watched the movies. They went there. I saw it.
They filmed there. Exactly. It was on location.
Exactly.
It's actually found footage.
It's practical effects. I saw it all, guys.
It was a found footage film.
Exactly. You can't tell this man what he didn't see wasn't real. Exactly. Or what he saw wasn't real.
Duh. I know what I saw, and that's a brand new movie. Brand new.
That's recent. This is a recent history.
So, very believable.
Wake up, sheeple. All right. So my next theory, guys, I want to get fucky with this one. What is Denver hiding in the airport?
Literally everything.
Oh, God. Yeah.
This one hits close to home, literally. The airport I'm going to be talking about is the Denver International Airport, which is like an hour away from my home. I feel comfortable revealing that only because I've carefully sculpted my reputation on this show as an individual that does not play well with others. Try to find me and see what happens. Anywho, there's a lot that goes into this, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is Lucifer and the blood on his hooves. So the first thing that you see coming into the airport is this giant blue horse statue. It's disturbingly anatomically correct. This art piece is veined with pulsating doom. The statue is called the Mustang, but the internet and everyone with the working set of eyes have nicknamed this monstrosity Lucifer. Some say it represents the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Others claim it's some kind of Illuminati watchtower. This thing is 32 feet tall. The eyes glow red, and not only is it well hung, but also, homie has a kill count. Like many ungodly creatures, Lucifer killed his creator before it was even finished. What?
I just pulled up a picture of this thing. Holy shit.
Do you see its endowment?
I get to see
I'm telling you. Veined with pulsating doom. I say that very deliberately. So, like I said, Lucifer killed its creator before it was even finished, and they still presented it to us like a gift we probably deserved but didn't ask for. During its conception, part of the horse fell onto the artist Luis Jimenez and severed the artery in his leg, killing him, which is the most metal origin story for a cursed public art piece I've ever heard of. Now that you've seen the pictures of it, like, would you want to see it in person?
No, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to go flying into this airport in October.
You're going to come give it a kiss on your way to see me.
It is a sight to be held.
So, as if the exterior isn't brutal enough, between the 32-foot harbinger of doom and the inconvenience of the Denver airport being literally 40 minutes away from Denver, it has even more twisted art on the inside. The murals, guys.
Yes.
It's so unsettling, it's not even funny. If you haven't seen them, pause the episode, Google it, and then come back here and stare at me for a little bit, because I see you and you aren't alone. Okay? It's created by this guy named Leo Tanguma. And the most infamous ones that are there are a scene of children in coffins, gas-masked soldier with giant scimitar, and cities in ruins and terrified families. That's just one. The second is a peaceful follow-up with children from all nations gathered around a glowing plant, all above the corpse of the same soldier. So they're intended to depict the horrors of war and the dreams of peace, but the execution feels more like a prophecy or a warning. And it's not something you want to look at before you get on an airplane. They're traumatizing, you guys. They're just fucking weird. And if the art doesn't get you, the secret tunnels really should. So it gets deeper. There are reportedly 6 levels below the airport. The official story is that they're part of a failed automated baggage system, but we love a good "that's what they want you to think" moment. So the theories include there are underground bunkers for the global elite to wait out the apocalypse. There's connections to NORAD, which is just 100 miles away, Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak, around that side of the mountains. That's where NORAD is, the big secret military base. It's not a secret everybody knows about. So they think that, the tunnels connect to NORAD. They think that a New World Order HQ was built in plain sight. They think that it's a hidden detention center for cloning facilities. And they think alien tech storage, right? Some say that there are symbols and the layout of these tunnels mimics swastikas from above. Others talk about weird Masonic plaques, gargoyle statues warning travelers, and workers who claim parts of the tunnels just go on forever. I've actually spoken to people who work here, and it's very hush-hush. They don't want employees poking around in there, and they don't want you bringing your friends to see them. Believe me, they don't. If you work there and you try to get your friend in to see the tunnels, you're going to get in trouble. It's like the rule is don't ask, don't tell.
No.
Yeah. If you know me, you know this is a challenge I refuse to ignore. So another thing I want to talk about is the airport went billions over budget, and it took 16 months longer than it should have to make it. They also built it way out in the middle of nowhere, even though Stapleton, the old airport, was still very much functional. So the real question is why? Why here? Why the weird vibes? Why is this airport the conspiracy theorist Disneyland? And it just feels like this is either the greatest prank ever funded by taxpayer money, or we are one automated announcement away from a portal opening under gate C13 and swallowing the world whole. What do you guys think about this airport?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Insightful.
Yes.
Angie, I love that you weren't supposed to be on this episode, but now that I know that Angie is going to be flying through DIA in the upcoming future, it makes me so excited to know that she knows all the twisted, fucked up shit that goes down inside of it. How does it make you feel?
Well, I'm thinking about finding another airport to fly into.
Hey, Stapleton.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Honestly, it's so popular. That's the thing that gets me with it, is how popular DIA is. We talked about it on one episode. I could look up at the sky at any point and there are 20 fucking planes. It is insanely popular. There's a lot of foot traffic. For them to actually be hiding something there, I think that it would take a miracle. Honestly, a miracle.
But often, what do? You hide things in plain sight.
Yeah.
would also might explain why Denver is one of the most expensive airports to fucking fly into.
And it's not a convenience fee you're paying, let me tell you. It is not convenient to fly to DIA. Especially if it's like a long haul. If you're flying in and you have like hours to drive to get to a hotel, like it's a nightmare, guys. It's out in the middle of nowhere. I'm telling you, it's almost like deserted. So, moving away from airplanes, as regretful as that is, I want to go into the theory that we are all Sims. To wrap this episode in the most uncomfortable cling film you can imagine, I'm going to gently pry apart everything you've ever known about yourself and reality and what is possible. Have either of you heard the theory that we're living in a simulation?
I've seen The Matrix.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very, very much so.
Good. I am locked into this. Go ahead.
Hell yeah. So, essentially, if you ever look around and you feel like something's off, or like you're stuck in a glitchy video game designed by cosmic interns and monitored by an emotionally unavailable alien species,
aka Ubisoft,
you're already started. You're already a part of the simulation theory. Let's dive in. No parachute, no physics, no questions. We're just gonna rip this out. So, some people believe that we're all sharing one big simulation, like some kind of massive MMORPG run on whatever passes for God's GPU. Others say it's individualized, just you, your reality, your NPCs, and the AI behind the screen keeping you entertained or suffering based on your upgrade plan. Either way, the same question applies. Is any of this real? With GTA logic, this is where I know I touched on this in the creepypasta episode, but I want to dive even deeper into this particular version of the simulation because this is the one that makes it tangible for me. If you look at the game Grand Theft Auto 5, it's the perfect simulation of a simulation. It does what most games do to save processing power, and it only renders the world a chunk at a time. There's an algorithm that determines which vehicles, which NPCs spawn, and what kind of weather you're going to have while you break society's rules like a little delinquent. So what we have here is NPCs on a loop saying the same 5 lines of dialogue. You have people disappearing the moment you look away, bizarre side quests involving sentient pigeons and real estate fraud, invisible walls, physics-breaking moments, and cars that spawn in front of you. If you ever feel like the weather changes just to suit the mood of your life story, that's not the universe being poetic. That's the weather mod scripting. That's the weather mod script flipping on. Obviously, there's nuance to it, but this is essentially the idea that it's like preloaded based on you and what you're looking at. And there are people that you come into contact with that will become like main characters that you will interact with on a daily basis, or sometimes like rarely, but it's essentially like a tailored experience to you, and you're the main character. They're just testing shit out on you. Another one is, it's like the Matrix theory, that the real world is just a dream your body is having while you're plugged into a machine somewhere in a completely different dimension. Maybe you chose to be here, maybe you didn't. The Mandela effect is just a glitch in the code. Deja vu is render lag. The feeling of being watched when you're alone, that's the simulation's camera pulling back for a wide shot. You can't convince me that The Matrix wasn't a documentary with a bigger VFX budget than the truth ever gets. So let's stir in some alien spice. Maybe we were created as an experiment, a little lab-grown planet for extraterrestrial grad students studying emotional chaos and capitalism. Or worse, they're not studying us. What if we're just the screensaver running while they're out? Crop circles, abductions, sleep paralysis. These are just patch notes being installed. The feeling that you're the main character, that's because you are, and the aliens are watching your life's arc like it's peak prestige TV. And here's where it gets sinister. What if the simulation is not run by random code, but the New World Order? Not as programmers, but as editors, curating reality, controlling collective consciousness by deciding what upgrades get pushed through. The news cycle, that's just a changelog. Social media is a distraction code, engineering to keep you busy, keep you scrolling to notice simulation is browned you. Dreams, they're the upload files. New trauma, new storylines, new rules. If you ever wake up and swear something is different or the air changed, maybe it did. Maybe you got patched. What do you guys think? Could you believe in the simulation theory?
I think I'm going to cry is what I'm going to do. That's for sure.
It's too real, right?
It is. It's nuts because like it does explain like the weird things like deja vu and that thing's just weird, the Mandela effect, all that kind of fun shit and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
It does bring, quote unquote, if you shall, sense and reasoning to all those. It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
Sense and reasoning.
It makes everything feel pointless, and that's something I struggle with on a daily basis. Is it's just a fucking game? Like, this is just a fucking game.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, like, it seems like the rule should be you do good, you get good, you work hard, you make money, maybe you get rich, maybe you're able to save some money. But it seems like people who follow all of the rules of life the way they're supposed to, they don't always get what they deserve for that. And there are people that don't. They get what other people deserve. They don't necessarily deserve the good that they've had. And I think little moments like that are what make theories like this so easy to cling to, because it brings sense to something in reality that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it brings sense to the horrendous inequality and unfair.
Angie, I want to know.
What?
I want to know what you feel.
I want to know what?
How do you feel about the simulation?
I mean, maybe we're not inside the code. Maybe we are the code that's dreaming itself awake. There's a couple.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, because are we? Sorry, my brain is just going in so many different directions.
They're interfering. You should have worn the tinfoil.
Are we the makers of this simulation, like an advanced,
So if we're going with the Grand Theft Auto 5 logic, what if it's not the world randomly happening around us? It is stuff that we are pulling to us with our subconscious because we are the ones writing the simulation as we are living it. We just don't realize it.
Is that why so many people really truly believe in, manifesting, that you are just bending code?
Right. And why, like, maybe the reason why some people don't believe in the moon landing is because that's not part of their simulation. They're like, no, they told me that was a lie. I just don't know why they told me that.
So what you're saying is poor people who couldn't buy the DLC is what you're saying.
Yeah, they couldn't afford the patch that was like moon landing. You get access to moon knowledge.
Yeah. They don't get the V-Bucks.
It's one that I find myself circling back to a lot. I really do. I find that there are a lot of things in reality that don't make sense according to the rules of the universe, and you can take that how you will. I have seen some shit. I think that it might be true, you guys. I think that we could be living in a simulation. I think that aliens could be involved. I think the New World Order could be involved. Fuck it. Everybody that was ever bad could be involved. And we are just people that are living inside of the machine, and we can either work together or we don't. But I mean, that's my 2 cents about it. Anywho.
I think when it comes down to the simulation one, like you said, the 2 big ones that I know of, or at least that I feel have the most probability, it's the Truman Show and we're all Jim Carrey. And the aliens are controlling, whether it's just for sick entertainment, whether it's this, that, and the other thing, whether it is just screen safe, doesn't matter. We are something that they've created. We are just that. Maybe we are their GTA. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, we are literally just their video game.
In that Stephen King book, Under the Dome, the reason the dome gets dropped on that town is it's like an alien video game. Like, it's literally like, did they just drop the dome down to see how a civilization would react when all of their supplies are cut off? They're all locked together in this small town and suspicions arise. Like, they end up killing each other off. Like, it's just...
They were bored, They shake it. So
they're
it's
testing
like,
shit out.
Yeah, let's see what the fuck's going on, man. It's exactly that. What do you do? It's like, oh, here's this thing. Give it to the mouse, see what it does, record it down, put it on the internet. Who the fuck cares? That's what we are. We're their lab rats. I feel that one has more.
That's why we're so weird about human experimentation, because they're worried that through human experimentation, we're going to realize that humans are an experimentation.
Thanks. Where's Chris Nolan's movie explaining all of this, that he's behind all of this? Because this sounds very Chris Nolan in his ballpark. Eat your heart out, Kubrick. The one about the New World Order and the deep state running it.
I know.
It's just...
You have more movie knowledge than I do.
It's not so much the movie knowledge. It's just like I said, the other theory that I'm thinking about is that them running it is like, I think there's more gravity. Not so much that they're controlling a simulation; they're just controlling the world. Because you can't rule the world. You can't dominate. You can't just like take over the world and the one person's in charge, because that's just bad for business. People have tried it.
It's not realistic.
Eons.
Too big.
It's way too big. So, but if you get enough people in to kind of spread it out throughout there and get this person involved and that person involved, you seem like you're against each other, but really you're working with each other and keep laughing on your way to the bank. I think that's the more probable one. Like, it's okay, they did social media. Exactly. I feel all these people with these sick and twisted minds could have potentially come up with these things and these bogus conflicts and these bogus distractions. It's just like, I don't want to be that guy, but we have some really heavy situations going on in the world right now, and the only thing you can find if you open up any form of social media or anything that's connected to the internet, all you're seeing is 100 guys versus a gorilla. I think they're masters of the misdirection and the, oh, look, shiny thing over here, while they're robbing you and screwing you over on the other side kind of thing. I don't necessarily think they're controlling like an actual, like no one pulls up like a laptop and like starts fucking with everyone individually.
It's the control of the collective consciousness, like I was saying. Like they're just kind of directing the flow of thought and trying to get that herd mentality stirred up and going towards like
subliminal messaging,
direction.
all that fun shit.
Exactly. Those are all of my conspiracy theories. I was wondering if there were any honorable mentions that you guys would like to just throw out there before we go into the outro.
Oof. Too many of them.
One that I wish I had done was the theory that Shakespeare is more than one person. I really like that one.
That's a good one.
I also like the idea that the Titanic that sank was actually its sister ship because something happened to the Titanic before it was supposed to go off. And like shit went down. Obviously, they could never come clean about it. Like it was just going to be a little switcheroo. People are just going to ride fake Titanic and be like, woo, we rode Titanic. And then the real Titanic would go into business.
I'm like, lols, jokes.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
I mean, shout outs to the two biggest ones that are on the face of the earth. Roswell, New Mexico, JFK.
Yeah, JFK's a good one. I like that one a lot. Grassy Knoll, all that. Honestly, I've heard a lot of interesting ones about Abraham Lincoln, too. Basically, like, any theory where, like, the government's lying to us and society is a construct that's, like, a hell for us on Earth. Love those. Those are really great.
The one that blew my mind was the eerie similarities between Lincoln and Kennedy. Those are the weird. That's got to be the weirdest one ever.
Yeah.
Because like the list just doesn't end.
Well, one that got thrown my way was how similar Jack Black looks to the actual Benjamin Franklin. And somebody came to me with a theory that maybe Jack Black is a time traveler. He's just Benjamin Franklin fucking around in our timeline.
That's a great one. That is a great idea.
All right, Angie, do you have anything else to say before we go into outro?
I'm kind of Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me okay?
Am I still here?
Oh, no, they got her.
No, Angie. The Men in Black.
God, they really got her.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit. Do we wait?
The fuck?
Oh, no, this isn't good. She's the one with, like, the recording button.
Oh. Well, we definitely have to wait then.
For a second, see if she can rejoin.
There she is.
Oh, thank God. Angie, are you okay? Did they take your memories?
Blink once for yes, twice for no.
Do you ever wonder if the Men in Black will come for us for our podcast?
No.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. Not a chance.
We don't have enough people listening to it, huh?
Not even that. We can get more popular than Joe Rogan. They're not going to come for us.
It's because we're too fucky.
Exactly.
Oh. All right, I'm going to text Angie. What do I do? Angela.
Angela? Oh.
I always call her Angie, but every now and then I'll toss an Angela in there. She loves it.
I gotta work on my Tony Danza impression and just hit her with it one time. Angela. It's like my Stallone, but more sad.
She said she's trying to get back in.
No worries. They locked her out.
I'm telling you. That's another thing, too. I find the more you start talking about things like this, the more, like, tech issues and weird things start happening. You know what I mean?
There's some weird stuff. There's some weird stuff.
I'm going to tell you something, but only because this is getting cut from the recording, and it's only you and I here. but I have remembered a lot of what I'm supposed to forget. And I know shit. Shit's fucky out here. Shit is fucky.
Shit's fucky, man.
Angie, is it really you? Baby jump.
You get tinfoil, didn't you?
I jumped so hard.
I still don't know what to do because I can't stop the recording. Like my computer just completely fucked off. Like it's saying I have no internet, and it won't even pick up my hotspot.
Maybe when we go to leave, it will be okay. But if not, I have all of this written down. We can either scrap this or we can just record it again some other time. But it's not the end of the world.
I just don't understand why it's not even picking up my.
It's the fucking Men in Black, Angie. Listen, the more you know, the more you know. And I said before, I'm no scientist. I can't even lie to you and say that I'm a rational person driven by facts and logics. Do I subscribe to all of these theories that I presented today? No. I think there's a lot to this world that can't be explained. And in my personal opinion, if we don't ask these questions, then we're not going to figure out what the truth really is. If you learn anything from me, learn this. Don't believe everything you see. Don't listen to everything you hear. And when the world gets quiet and still, why don't you go ahead and give the moon a little wink for me? Tell her I sent you. If you encounter a 32-foot horse with glowing red eyes, give him a wide berth. And if you liked this episode, remember to rate and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. This episode couldn't have happened without the army of people who have given us their time and attention. And for those loyal soldiers, we thank you. I want to thank Angie and Kyle for sitting through this with me, and especially Kyle for being so willing to pull out a tinfoil hat for me. If you're still listening, I just want to do a quick shout out for some of the listeners on Spotify: Enrique, James, Finney, John, Melissa, and Amy. Thank you for taking the time to either rate or subscribe. That helps us out so much, more than you can realize. On YouTube, we have a loyal commenter, Nikki, that I want to shout out. She's one of the only people who isn't us that has commented. I appreciate you, Nikki. And on Apple reviews, I want to give a shout out to Hugh Joe Knockers 6969 for your super nice review.
Gave the greatest name ever.
Also, me 423. Thank you for your review. That helps us so much. I also want to give a special thanks to Cody and Kayleen for literally saving the editing process and recording of this podcast. Generous, funny motherfuckers. I love you guys so much. And while I'm thanking neighbors, I want to thank our number one fan, Patrick, for literally watching every single episode and talking to me about them. Every single episode is hours of work, and we love them so much, and we appreciate you guys. The support means the world. It keeps us going, and although we would still make this podcast without it, it's heartwarming to know we're not just casting our voices out into the void. We'll see you next Monday for a new episode, whether you watch this one or not. It doesn't matter. It's happening. Lean in. That's all I have, guys. Bye.
Is this a number one fan? No, this is Patrick.
No, this is Patrick.
Patrick.
Patar fui fui. Oh, I'm so excited to see if this actually recorded.
Oh God, I don't know. Other than for me just to reboot my computer.
Oh no, they put her in a well.
Can you hear me?
She's getting abducted right now.
Remember, when they pull out the probe, you're going to jump a little at first, but just take a deep breath and hold it for 3 seconds. Always exhale on re-entry. Your rectum will thank me.
No. The only way that I could get in here is I had to go through the link and like that
I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest. I didn't understand a fucking word you just said. You sound like, you know what? You sound like you were the captain from a plane trying to tell us what the weather was like in Denver right before we land, but your face was in a fucking pillow.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, bye, Kyle.
Oh, bye, Kyle.